Hey you all, welcome to Screen University. I am Deepak Karamgikar and I would like to talk about Tenet today. So what I am trying to do in this video is trying to explain Tenet in 10 minutes. So before we go there is one more thing that you need to know. There are two concepts here. One is the inversion. What is inversion? Inversion is a state achieved by a body when its entropy is reversed. Now what is entropy? You can go and read that in Wikipedia, but what happens when entropy is reversed is that you experience time in reverse. That means if I get inverted today, I'll start moving into the past. Okay. The second thing to understand is the red and blue concept. Blue side of the turnstile is inverted side, red side is the forward side. Red is forward, blue is inverted. Remember these things and follow my presentation. My face is not going to be there on the presentation because there is no space there. So I'll let you enjoy this video. Please let me know how you liked it. Please like, share, subscribe or whatever. Thank you very much for watching. So the film begins on day 0. I would like to call this dotted line as day 0, and the events that happen after this dotted line have been placed in such a way to differentiate between what happens after day 0. The film begins on day 0 where there is an attack on opera in Kiev, Ukraine. The protagonist is a CIA agent who has been asked to blend in with the Ukrainian special forces to extract an American VIP. He asks the VIP about the package and runs out to the coat counter and checks his bag and finds a metallic object. Protagonist sees one of the Ukrainian soldiers planting a bomb and he doesn't trust him anymore because that was not in the original mission. He swaps out the VIP for another person and saves him. When he tries to remove the bomb, which has already been planted, someone holds a gun to his head. And then suddenly he is shot by a bullet that flies out of the surface and back into the gun. This is our first introduction to what is known as inversion. The protagonist is then taken to the docks and is tortured. He somehow makes it out alive and wakes up on a vessel where he is inducted into an organization called Tenet. He then travels to a Scandinavian country where he meets a scientist who introduces him to inversion. He finds out that the bullets used in the opera house were inverted and he traces them to a Russian called Andrei Sator. To find out about the inverted bullets, he, along with Neil, another CIA agent, visit Priya, who apparently holds some knowledge about Tenet. He learns that the bullets were normal when they were sold to Sator and he inverted them. Protagonist is now in London where he meets British intelligence contact Michael Caine, who tells him that Sator grew up in a closed city called Stalskwell, which has been closed for a very long time, but they detected an explosion there recently. He also tells him about Sator's wife Catherine, who sold him a drawing which turned out to be a fake, a Goya drawing which is very expensive and it turned out to be a fake, and he has been under his grip ever since. Michael Caine gives him another fake to initiate a meeting with her. The protagonist meets Catherine in an auction house and learns that she did not know that the drawing was fake when she sold it to him. He promises to steal the drawing which Sator is holding in an Oslo free port if she can initiate a meeting with Sator. The Freeport vault is very high security, and to breach that, Neil and protagonist use Mahir and distract the tarmac staff with gold bricks as they crash a plane into the vault, causing a fire. They use the breach and enter the vault, which has two doors, blue and red. Here, the protagonist has a fight with a man wearing a SWAT uniform, which turns out to be an inverted version of him. Now back in Mumbai, Priya tells the protagonist that the turnstiles are technology from the future and they haven't been invented yet. And that Sator is at the core of all this, and he was also behind the siege of the opera house where they were looking for the package, which is nothing but plutonium-241. And that the package is now with the Ukrainians, who will be transporting the package to a nuclear containment facility for safekeeping. The protagonist makes progress with Catherine and visits Sator on his yacht, where he sees inverted gold bricks being transported via a helicopter, and while watching that he gets caught. After they beat him up, protagonist tells a skeptical Sator that he will help him in stealing the plutonium from the convoy, and Catherine will do the exchange. Now this is where things get very, very interesting. At the talent docks, Catherine and Setter are in a warehouse, waiting to validate the items Setter will soon lay his hands on. But suddenly he beats her up and radios his man to tell him all that happens as he waits behind a door. Neil and the protagonist wait in a BMW and intercept a convoy and extremely tactfully steal the package which is inside an orange box inside a very secure armored truck. That's like one of the best scenes you would have stealing or heist scenes that you would have ever seen on screen. So a protagonist says he's never seen a weapon of this type after he steals it, but Neil insists that he has seen it. While they're still on the road, Sater is inside an SUV that is driving backwards. And he's wearing an oxygen mask, whereas Catherine is not. And he has a gun pointed to her head. Protagonist realizes that she could be in danger and bounces the box to Sater. While this happens, a silver Saab unflips and starts driving backwards. Sater leaves the SUV with Catherine still inside it. Protagonist jumps into the SUV and saves Catherine, but they are both taken away by Sater's men. Next, we see a big turnstile where inverted Sater and Catherine are on the blue side, which is the inverted side. Sater hears on the radio that the package is missing. Protagonist hesitates to tell him, but Sater shoots Catherine. And then protagonist has to tell, and he tells him that the object is in BMW. Uninverted Sater appears on the red side, and just then Ops team enters and Sater retreats into the blue side. The Ops team is basically a British operative called Ives, who is apparently works for Priya. He enters with his team and rescues everyone and tells them about the temporal pincer movement. This is a very important concept here. We need to understand about temporal pincer movement. So temporal pincer movement is that half of Sater's men move forward through time to act out an operation and then give the other half the knowledge of what just occurred. And this other half goes and inverts themselves and they go and invert themselves and they complete the operation successfully. So this is a continuous informed loop in which an operation can never fail if you already know what is happening. That's what is known as a temporal pincer movement. The protagonist also learns that Catherine has been hit by an inverted bullet and she could die of inversion related radiation. He learns that she could be saved when she is uninverted. And they decide to go back to Oslo where they can use the turnstile from the Freeport, but they will have to go back 1 week. And this is where the something that I explained in the first slide. So you can't just go back, jump 1 week. You have to travel backwards 1 week. That means you travel into the past 1 week. And for that, Ives puts them on a shipping container to Oslo. This is where it gets tricky. Once inverted, protagonist says that he will stop himself from giving to Sater what he already gave. He drives the silver Saab back to the chase now and observes that the Sater's SUV is moving forward with him. Surprised, Sater spots him as he throws an orange box to the former protagonist. However, the former protagonist also spots the inverted protagonist. Suddenly, the object flies out of Saab's window back into the box. This means that in scene number 9, the protagonist threw the object into the Saab before tossing the empty box to Sater. This scene is a mindfuck of the highest order. This is where Saab crashes and Sater lights the car on fire, and since he's inverted, the car freezes after it burns, causing some hypothermia. Catherine, Neil and protagonist are at the Oslo Freeport, 1 week into the past since their inversion. On their way, they discuss grandfather paradox, and they are there around the time of the plane crashing into the Freeport. They use this chaos to get to the turnstile. The protagonist, who is now inverted and in a SWAT uniform, fights with his uninverted self. So Neil sees inverted protagonist. Recall that Neil tells the uninverted protagonist at the beginning that he took care of him. So he basically doesn't do, he just sees and lets him go. This is where I would like to talk about one thing that they mention while on their journey to Oslo. They talk about something called grandfather paradox, where Neil tells him that if you go back in the past and kill your grandfather, would you exist? So that he poses it like a question, and then protagonist asks him what is the answer. He says there is no answer. That's why it's called a paradox. So now by going back 1 week into the past and changing certain things, have they actually made any changes? So that's what is, they talk about this, and I just wanted to bring this up here. Neil, protagonist, and Catherine are now uninverted themselves and use an ambulance to escape during the chaos of the gold bricks. So a protagonist meets Priya, and she tells him about a scientist in the future who devises a formula to invert the whole world and renders that formula into physical form. That is called the algorithm. He realizes that Priya told him to steal, knowing that he would fail and it would only end up in Sator's hands. Sator now has all 9 pieces of the algorithm. You may know that this meeting happened approximately 2 days before protagonist's meeting Priya for the second time. And Priya tells him that the protagonist has to meet up with Ives, and she asks him to meet up with Ives, and that an army who await him on a ship which will head to offshore Siberia, which is near Sator's Soviet city, Stalsk 12, where he plans to bury the algorithm. And if you notice, while explaining every scene, I have shown red or blue arrows. Red arrow means that the story is progressing into the future linearly, and red arrow means it is progressing into the past. That means the characters that I'm talking about are going into the past. I hope that will help you connect. Now take a look at the screen and see if you are able to get a good judgment of what I'm talking about. On their way to Stalsk 12 in a ship, Neil tells protagonist that Sator has a dead man switch. Now, which means that if he is killed before the algorithm is secured, the GPS location of the algorithm will become visible for the future armies. That means Sator's armies to find and then they will use it and destroy the world. That means he's basically treating, he in fact says that if he can't get anything, nobody else should get it. So basically, if he dies, the whole world dies. So Dead Man Switch is apparently a health band that he's wearing on his wrists at all times. The plan now is to send Catherine to be with Sator on their vacation in Vietnam, like few days ago, where Ives, the protagonist, and the team will retrieve the algorithm before Sator decides to kill himself. So she basically has to go there and stop him from killing himself. And at the end of this, protagonist also gives her a phone for emergency contact. At Stalsk 12, another temporal pincer movement starts. The team is divided into two, red and blue. Red and blue teams are formed and they have a 10 minutes timer on their watches. At 5 minutes to go, a distraction explosion allows Ives and the protagonist to slip into what is known as the hypocenter, where they are going to bury the bomb. Meanwhile, Mahir takes Catherine on the boat to Sator's yacht, where she goes there and she acts as if she is normal, and she prematurely kills Sator before telling him that she's actually from the future and he has already shot her, and shows him the bullet wound, and she sinks his body and jumps out of the yacht just in time. And just moment before she jumps, her former she sees her past self and the sun just reaching the yacht. Now at the hypocenter, the protagonist and Ives see a man lying dead on the other side of a gate. Okay, he's behind a gate, and as one of Sator's men is preparing to count down for the big explosion. So protagonist realizes that the dead man who is lying there has a backpack which has a red colored string hanging from it. This is the same string that he has seen before at the opera, where that person saves him by shooting a man who is trying to shoot the protagonist. And suddenly this dead man rises and unlocks the gate and runs away. We don't see his face. Above the surface, Neil, who is originally on the blue team, uninverts himself and drives an armored, Humvee vehicle to pull out Ives and protagonist from the hypocenter hole using a rope. Ives, protagonist, and Neil finally get saved, and they decide to divide the algorithm into 3 parts and bury them in unknown places so that it is safe. But during the conversation, Neil reveals that Tenet is actually an organization started by protagonist in the future, and he was recruited by protagonist himself, and he was the one who saved him at the opera house, and he was the one who actually opened the gate, and he died for him. It is also revealed that he would die in a few minutes. So that's how amazingly this story goes. So basically everything is done by protagonist, but we are shown from a perspective that protagonist knows nothing. In the end, protagonist is back into the future after Sator is dead and appears in a place where Priya is about to assassinate Catherine. Protagonist shoots the assassin and plays the clip where Catherine tells him about some danger using the phone he gave her on the ship. Moments later, she actually makes the phone call, which he just plays to Priya, and he reveals to her that he is the protagonist. He is the protagonist, not a protagonist like she had mentioned before, and that Priya has been working for him, and then he shoots her. That's when the movie ends, and then they show the iconic written and directed by Christopher Nolan title credit.
I hope you liked the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you liked it, please share it with your friends. Like as in click the like button, and also subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.